What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Counting Wisdom podcast. Today, I'm going to be just sharing some of my thoughts on a bit about just some of my thoughts on life right now. I think that we need to find something to occupy our time. I've been definitely searching for work that I can do from home. I think a lot of times I personally, and you might be like this, that you're searching for something to do. And I think that I've heard that we need to be productive as Christians. And that's so true, you know. And I think that if we spend our time looking after the Bible and looking after God's word and knowing it, I think God will introduce us to things that we can do. He's a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. And so I look forward to just finding a little bit more about what I can do. I'm already kind of in school, or I'm just, learning more, but I still am searching a little bit about, a good thing that I can do for work. I think I have a sort of a delivery job right now, but sometimes I feel like I want a real kind of like a profession, a career, something that I think keeps me occupied and keeps me productive. And so I've been looking into work from home jobs. Over the summer, I made bracelets for pay, and that was pretty good. I liked working with my hands, but that's definitely an option. It's not something that I can find right now. It's a bit, difficult to get a business off the ground. Sometimes I feel like I'm resting from trying to get a business off the ground, in regards to, well, I keep saying, but you don't know. But I think I've been struggling for the past, I want to say at least 10 years or so, on and off with the idea of having my own business. I like working for people, I like working for some of the jobs that I've had, but I feel like I have been sort of both unstable in just what I want to do in life, and unstable in kind of my foundation in regards to where I'm going. And so, you may feel like that too, and I know where I'm going is ultimately the New Jerusalem, ultimately heaven. Those are some goals, but I think we struggle with, okay, what do we do along the lines, if I'm not going to be a pastor, which I don't think I'm going to take that route, what's my other option, And I think a lot of people go the pastor route if they're really into the Bible, but there's a Bible verse that says that not everyone should become teachers. It goes, not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly, James 3:1. And so, for me personally, that kind of deters me from actually being a pastor because of those reasons. Now, I have some other goals. Of course, I want to reach my fitness goals, but I think that in the meantime, we all are searching, and I think we're searching for life. We're searching for Jesus. Jesus says that he is the way, the truth, and the life. But sometimes I feel like I am a bit sort of, how do I actually search for Jesus? And if you're out there like that, you're kind of like, okay, I know about reading the Bible, and you may have read the Bible, but then it's like, okay, what next? And then what do I do once I have found Jesus, And so what I try to do, I try to just share with Jesus the different things that are happening in my life. Like, I feel like I try to just, tell him what my problems are, and I'm like, hey, I have this problem, I did good with this problem. Thank you for helping me with that problem. And sometimes I feel like I'm dumping my problems on Jesus, but I think you have to realize that, I have to realize that Jesus is a counselor, and he's like a doctor. He's like, someone that you can go to really just, vent. And, I'm really just eager to see what God does for bringing some of my requests into my life. But I'm reading a book on addictions, and addictions can be something that, it might be blocking you. If you're addicted to something, anything, I would say really just dealing with that. I think, sometimes, it's definitely good to have a job and provide for your family. But, what's helped me is really finding freedom. Jesus has brought freedom into my life where, I'm not necessarily, I've had some struggles, but he more and more is just opening the door to more freedom and more just security in regards to not dealing with certain like addictions, and I recommend getting that, really focused on cleaning up your personal life. And I foresee just, myself doing that more. I want to do that more, and I want to be focused on that. And then also I just want to, of course, have that security. And a lot of people have lost their jobs recently because of COVID-19. And wow, what to say about that? I mean, that has to be difficult. I know I have one time in the past have lost a job, and I feel like it was sort of like, wow, like I completely disagree with, sort of me losing my job, and it really throws you for a loop, and you're like, okay, what do I do now? And so I think the definite, what am I looking for? The benefit of having your own business, I think, is having a little bit more job security depending on what you're in. I think if you are choosing to, what I'm really looking to do is find a job that I can work from home that is a little bit more secure for job-wise. But I think once you go that route, the theme that I hear from the Bible is that if you're not living right, God can even disrupt what you think is secure. Whatever you think that you are secure in, I think if we don't choose to live the best life that we can live in regards to keeping God's commands and fearing him, then I think that it opens the door to just, having things, not go right. And that's been somewhat disturbing for me. I would say it's been disturbing for me because, it doesn't feel good when things go wrong. I think it really just, it opens your heart. It makes that first initial wound, and you're like, wow, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm, a failure, and where my life, the plans for my life have suddenly changed, and I've gotten a taste of what Job feels like. The book of Job had things going for him. He had the job, he had his family, he had, his animals, he had a whole bunch going for him. And the good thing is that God restored him, but he saw it all just fall apart. And I think one of the lessons, there's a lot of lessons that you can learn from the book of Job, but one of the lessons is that, God, he brought Job to a better end when he remained faithful to God, when he was still bent on obeying God's commands. And I think once God, he says that we get what we deserve almost. He rewards everyone according to their deeds. And so I think sometimes we have to take heed to ourselves and really realize, like, I can't let myself fall behind on living the way that God wants me to live, and mimicking the life of Jesus. And I think sometimes it's a little bit nerve-wracking because you're like, oh man, I don't want to get in trouble because of the way of Jesus, or you're like, I don't want to be in harm's way because of Jesus, or just all the other things that you could possibly think about, because Jesus, he had a pretty rough time here when he was here. And I was just thinking earlier, like, this is the total place. Like, I believe one of the reasons why I believe Jesus' story is true, because there is so much that happens here on earth that the Son of God would come here and die at the hands of people, because this place is just that. So many people are in these situations that are, so volatile and dangerous. And it really makes sense that God would come to earth and show people what horrible state that they're in, because he ended up dying at the hands of his own creation. Now, that doesn't, it makes sense because, like, the stories that you hear on the news and what may be in your own life, it makes sense. Like, what, that is true. You can get into dangerous situations here, or you can just, this earth, even though the illusion is, what's crazy is that sometimes being here, it seems stable. Like, sometimes it seems as if things are okay. Like the stories that you hear in the news, you don't always just see firsthand. Like, they're happening in places that are secluded, or like there's not many people around, or, there's just different situations. But anyway, I think the purpose of me saying all that is to say that, don't give up. Continue on your search to find your work that you want to do, your job that you want to do. Continue to get educated, wisdom. That's what the one thing that Proverbs says, Solomon says, God says, is to get wisdom. This Bible, this channel is about counting wisdom. It means getting the wisdom that you can, counting up your wisdom, not your wisdom, but the wisdom that you can get from God, and using that and applying that to your life. So, I just wanted to let you know that I'm on this journey with you. I'm searching myself. We're all searching for something, but sometimes if we don't search for the right way, I found that it makes it difficult, to get what we're searching for. And then also, one thing I've noticed is that sometimes I actually don't really want what I'm really thinking that I want. Like, God changes my desires, and He has them to be more life-giving. Because if I'm just like, oh, I really want a big house, or I really want, to move to, the moon, you know what I'm saying? Like something so bizarre. And then God's like, no, you actually don't need that, because this way of life is better. And so I think that we have to really cultivate a trust for God, and I hope to do that myself. I think God is trustworthy. He's proving more and more that He doesn't need to prove it. He already is, but He does prove it to us. What I notice is that, He is trustworthy. And I'll end this with some Bible verses on God's trustworthiness. So, as for God, His way is blameless. The word of the Lord is tried. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a shield to all who take refuge in Him. That's Psalm 18:30. Psalm 105. For the Lord is good. His loving kindness is everlasting, and His faithfulness to all generations. So we can count on the Lord, when you think that, you don't have what you're looking for, give it to God, That's what I'm going to do, and God will bring something around, It's not practical to think that, God, after all the praying that we do, after all the sincere searching that we do, that God just ignores what we have to say. No way. No way. God cares. And He's going to bring about something good in our life if we just believe it and we hold Him to it. Not that we need to hold Him to it, but, He'll come through. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this Counting Wisdom podcast. If you want, check out my website, washi.com, and I will talk to you on the next podcast. See ya.